Hey guys, welcome to the video. I'm afraid we're going to have to start off with something a little bit negative. So I've basically got a confession to make, which is that I'm an addict. I've got a very serious addiction and I do need help. I'm finally admitting it. Um, and that is an addiction to jazz, okay? So who's ready to learn about some jazz today? Because I'm ready to teach you guys, okay? Let's go. So, have you ever wanted... Oh gosh, my mic. Who's ever wanted to be able to do this? Be honest with me, guys. Doesn't that just sound sick? The two main people who inspired me to learn this kind of style were Bill Evans and Oscar Peterson, obviously big names. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you're going to know who those guys are. But basically, they're both pioneers, as well as Barry Harris, of course, George Shearing, lots of people actually. But yeah, they're pioneers of this thing called Drop-2. So it's kind of like a type of harmonic language, I guess you could call it. When I first heard Drop-2, I think it was probably Bill Evans doing it, I went crazy. I was like showing it to all my friends who weren't musicians, and I was literally like, look at this crazy thing, like, doesn't it make you feel all cushy inside and blah, blah, blah. And they were all just kind of like, oh, what is he playing the piano? Oh, no. Anyway, I'm sure you all have had similar experiences, but man, I just knew I had to get on top of that when I first heard it. And basically, it's much easier than you think. I'm sure a lot of you have probably heard Drop-2 and don't entirely know what it means, or I'm sure some of you do use it. But basically, I took a while to start kind of understanding it because I thought Drop-2 was something much more kind of complex than it actually was. And it turns out that it is literally just the second note from the top of the chord dropped an octave. That's it. Look, say we've got just an F major 7, really basic voicing. You just drop that second one from the top, so... And it already sounds stunning. Yeah? So it's the C. I'm dropping the C because it's the second note from the top of the chord. So then if we're going to jazz it up a little bit, we're going to have to know which chords fit into the scale, major scale here, which seventh chords fit into it. So number 1, major 7. Number 2, minor 7, G minor 7. Number 3, minor 7, A minor 7. Number 4, B flat major 7. Number 5, C dominant 7. Number 6, D minor 7. Number 7, E half diminished, also known as E minor 7 flat 5. Then we're back to 1. So here's an exercise. Let's just run through that scale, but we'll drop the 2 on every single chord. So let's start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I don't think the dominant 7th in this voicing sounds quite as nice, but just for the sake of the exercise, let's just finish this off. That's really nice. That's a 6. This is pretty nice as well. That's the 7, so E half diminished. And some of you might have noticed these can be used as inversions. This, for example, could be a G minor 7 with the 6. And now we're back to 1. So now let's do the same exercise, but we're kind of doing a bit of an extension. So let's take it up to this voicing of F major 7. So we're starting on 3, 3, 5, 7, 9. So it's a bit like an A minor 7 really, but we're thinking of it as F major 9. So then let's take down the 2. Cool. So now let's do that exact same exercise, just up with this voicing. There we go. That's our basic drop-2 shapes for every single chord in the scale. Now let's look a little bit at the diminished passing chord. So basically, let's get a basic voicing of the 1 chord. So we're going to call it 1 major 6. F, A, C, D. We're going to find every inversion of that chord. Okay, so there's 4 inversions because there's 4 notes in the chord. So now we need a filler chord. We need a chord that goes in between all these inversions of 1 major. So I think the chord that works best is the diminished chord. So we only need to use 1 diminished chord, and that's the one that's built on the 2nd note of the scale. So look, G, B flat, C sharp, E. Okay, wait a second. The 2 last notes of the scale both fit in to the 6 chord, the 1 major 6. So what are we going to do about that? Well, we're going to add an extra note in this scale, and then it's going to be called the bebop scale, which Barry Harris talks about a lot, where basically in between the 5 and the 6, you add a semitone, so sharp 5 and flat 6. So look, F major. So look. So this extra note we've added, that fits into the 2 diminished. So now we've completed the scale. So we have a major, then a diminished, then a major, then a diminished, then a major, then a diminished, then a major, then a diminished, and then a major. And we're back to home. Let's go on. And we're going to make the drop-2 version of that kind of scalic passage. So let's find the 2nd note from the top, which is D. So this here is an F major 6 chord, starting on A. So we've got A, C, D, F. Now we're going to move that D down into our left hand. We're going to drop the 2 because the D is the 2nd from the top. And now let's do that exact same exercise where we find the diminished chord, but in the drop-2 version. And then find the major 6, but in the drop-2 version. Okay? Are you ready? Do it slowly with me. Okay, that's up. This is down. So what you've got now is the drop-2 version of the bebop scale played in block chords with the passing diminished chord. So already we've added so much more color to the scale. We started off with just F major scale, and now we've got a really colorful, kind of jazzy sounding. It sounds a little bit old-fashioned, actually. So that's just block chords, kind of without even the drop 2. It sounds lovely. And then here's kind of more with the drop 2. You know, I'm kind of just messing around, but you can make that scale really musical. Like with all the ingredients we've kind of just talked about, you've already got loads of stuff to make music out of. Okay, guys, so now let's go back to that thing I played right at the start of the video, and let's just deconstruct that a little bit. Okay, so this is exactly what we've just talked about. This is the diminished passing chord going to G minor, diminished passing chord, G minor, an inversion, another inversion of G minor 7, another inversion of G minor 7, the previous one. Okay, so this is a voicing of C7, flat 9, flat 13. So okay, so that's what we're going to talk about next. We're all aware of the concept of a 2-5-1. So very simple version. Okay, so I'm taking the 2 and I'm just playing an inversion. And now the 5, I'm adding the flat 9, and the flat 7. So I'm implying the altered scale. So it's a nice voice leading here, because at the top you've got third, flat 3, 2. So just that alone is pretty nice. It's a suspension basically. So even if we had that just on the 1, you know, there's enough tension and release there. Now we're just harmonizing it. Okay, so now let's look at how we're making it into drop 2. So I've taken quite a basic voicing of G minor 7, where I've basically put it